Hello there, and thanks for joining me at my tying bench once again. This time around I'm going to tie up something quite a bit different for you. It's a fly that's good for bass and pickerel and any fish that likes topwater flies. And it's called the gurgler. You've probably seen it and heard of it before. And this I just call the ice dub gurgler because I use ice dub for the body, and a lot of them are tied with chenille bodies like crystal chenille, or I've also tied them with a hackle palmered body. And you can tie them with about any color foam you wish. And as you can see on this yellow one, I just put some red polka dots over it just to color it up a little bit. And I thought you might like to see how I put these guys together, and you might want to tie some and try them if you do some bass fishing and whatnot. So we'll get him out of the vise. I'll get a fresh hook in and we'll get started here. Now the hook I'm using is something a little different. It's a mustad stainless steel hook. It's a 34007 in the size 1. That's the pack they come in there, and it's a stainless steel hook. I like using these for these flies, so we'll get that locked down in the vise here. Alrighty, and for thread I'm using some heavier thread. It's a flat wax nylon danville 210, and I like using that for these foam flies. So alrighty, the first thing we'll do is start a little ways behind the eye here and work that thread back, form a thread base down to about the barb, just about. I'll snip off that little tag in there. Okay. And we'll snip that off. Okay. Alrighty, now just gonna move my thread ahead a little there. Now for the tail on this guy, some yellow bucktail first, and I got some in the stacker here. Just gonna even it up a little bit the best I can. Doesn't have to be perfect for these flies. And I like the tail to come back about a little longer than the length of the hook itself. Okay, I'm just going to measure that and then trim it here. Scissors. Okay, and we'll tie that in. Pinch wrap is started on top, then we'll work it back with nice snug wraps going back. And I'll make a wrap underneath that. Then we'll tie that all down forward, securing it down well. Okay. Alright, now that we have our tail in there, our yellow bucktail, I add a little bit of flash, not too much. I have some UV yellow crystal flash here. And I'm just going to add 4 strands. Then we'll fold it back, so we'll end up with 8 strands on top of the bucktail. Tie that in, wrap back. Then we'll fold it back over on itself and tie it down. Alrighty, so there's our tail finished. Secure that down well. And I'll trim that even with the bucktail. Alright, that gives us a little bit of flash there. Okay, so next we're going to tie in our foam. So work back to where we started our thread there. And I cut the foam strip about the width of the hook gap there, and I cut a little bit of a taper on the end to help tie in here to start. And we'll start that right there and wrap that back. And of course we want that to come right in front of our tail there, right against the tail. And you can just fold it ahead to check and see if you got it where you want it. I need a couple more wraps on that guy and he should be fine. Then we'll secure all that down well, several wraps. Snip that off a little bit on the axis there. Okay. Tie that down well. Alrighty, check that. That looks good. Okay. So now what we'll do is form a dubbing loop. And you want a fairly long loop for this. You can cover the whole body with the ice dub, and we'll work back towards the front of the foam. Okay, right in front there. Bring my thread forward. Now hook onto that with my little dubbing twister tool here and get that ready. Alrighty, now just got to get this situated the way I want it. That's good. Now what I'm going to do is take a little bit of Loon Outdoors wax here. It's a real tacky wax. I like to use that for the ice dub. And I'll just put some along both sides of my dubbing loop there. You just use any regular dubbing wax will work. Now, we're going to pull some of these strands of the, I got some golden yellow iced up here. Any type of yellow will work. This just happens to be golden yellow. And we'll begin to slide that up in the loop till we get enough in there to complete our body. Sometimes you will have to use 2 loops. It does happen. Just try to get it all in the first loop if you can. It doesn't always work out that way, of course, but and we'll just keep sliding that up. Putting that in there until I figure I might have close to enough. Alright, so now we'll close the loop once I get my finger out of it there. Alright, now we're going to give that a spin. Pinch it and then spin like so. You have to do that 3 or 4 times usually till we get a nice tight loop there. Give it another little spin and one more. Okay, now we'll comb that out after we get the body wrapped. Now I'm just going to wrap my body. I'm going to start. I want that first wrap right in front. I'm not going to worry about stroking it back or combing it back. Right now I'm just going to turn that up towards where we want to tie it off there. Okay, I'll just get a couple more wraps in there, folks. Okay, there we go. I just happened to get that one right on the button that time. Doesn't always happen that way, but a couple wraps to secure our dubbing loop in. Pull it back, lock it in place, snip out the excess there. Alrighty, so now we will take my little Velcro brush here and we'll start to pick that out, comb it out, because I want some nice long fibers there. Okay, just free up some of those, many as you can there. Alright, now what I'm going to do, looks like a mess now, but I'm just going to take all them fibers and sort of divide them down, part them down the middle, and I want them all going underneath, like so, before I fold my foam over the top. Just going to spin my bob and twist my thread up a little there. Okay, just like so. Then you just simply take your foam, fold it over the top. Okay, I actually have that a little bit wider than I'd like, so I'm just going to, while I can do it here before I tie it down, I'm just going to cut a little thin strip off that. It's no big deal. It's just a little wider than I'd like to see. There we go. Alright, so now we'll fold that over. So what you'll do next is just come around, pinch the foam, and we're going to take 2 or 3 loose wraps first. Then we're going to cinch down on it. Excuse my hand there. Okay, and a few wraps in front. Now, I'm going to fold that foam, and I want to form the head this time. And I want the head to be about, oh, I'd say that's about, not quite, I'd say about 3 or 4 hook eye lengths. You want that for the width of the head on it. Then we're going to come around the same spot again, 2 or 3 loose wraps, and then snug it down, nice and tight, just like so. Alrighty, check, and that looks good. Check the bottom once again. Okay, everything looks fine. So now, flip that head up there, and this is where you want to build a little dam of thread right in front of the head there. Just keep wrapping back towards it. Don't worry about getting the big head on it. Alright, that looks good. That just makes it nice and sturdy there, and that's what gives you that gurgling, bubbling through the water. And I'm going to trim that back piece up a little ways, like so. So it looks sort of like so. And now, I'm simply going to do a whip finish here. Find my whip finish here. Okay, and we'll come in behind there, get those wraps nice and close to that foam. Just like so. Whip finish this guy off. Okay, snug it down nice and tight. And we'll come in and snip that thread. Alrighty. So that's how I tie my foam gurglers. And I like to round off that folded over piece. Just cut the corners off, round it off a little. Just like so. Okay, now I'm just going to take it out of the vise for a sec here, folks, and just going to comb that back a little bit, that ice stub down and back a little bit more. Just so I get it going the way I want it. I just want it swept back more or less like that is what I'm looking for. As you can see, I'll hold it a little closer there. Alright, so I'll stick him back in the vise. Got a few more things to do here and he'll be done. Great little topwater fly. Okay, so now I'm just going to take my red marker, put some spots on them here. And you don't have to worry too much about where you just put the spots or how many. Just color them up a little bit here. Put a few here and there. Alrighty. Okay, I'll do it all over the whole top of the bug. Even on the head as well. Just to give them a little coloration. Just like so is fine. There we go. Okay. Now, what I'll do for the last step is get my Zap-A-Gap glue here. I'm going to turn the bug over on the main thread wraps there underneath, and I'm going to put some Zap-A-Gap on there just to make it a lot more durable. Just like so. And also in between there, so I'm going to take my dummy needle and get a little on the needle. It's just a little easier to get in that spot. Right in the center there where I tied that down, so I'm just going to split that apart with my fingers and put a little glue right in there. Alrighty, that's fine. He's a done deal, folks. And that is the yellow ice dub gurgler. It's a pretty simple fly to tie this way and this method. There is different ways you can tie it. I've seen it tied different ways. This is just how I do it. And it has a good action to it. If you strip it, it makes a nice V, pushes a lot of water. If you give it some fast strips, it bubbles and pops like a popper. And you can tie it in an array of different colors. I tie them in reds and blues. I have some red ones tied up. I have some blue ones tied up. Any imagination that you can come up with as far as colors of foam and ice dub and whatnot for the body, you can tie them up in a lot of different colors. So anyway, I hope you really enjoyed watching me tie this gurgler, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, you'd like to see more flies of mine in the future, don't forget to hit the good old subscribe button there. I appreciate it, and throw in a like if you wish. And if you have any comments, put them down below. I always like hearing from you and see what you got to say. And until next time, folks, happy tying out there. I'll see you all again soon, and so long for now.